Hi everyone, welcome to another tutorial on this channel. In this video, I'll be showing us the process of making this beautiful two-piece. The top is one side of the shoulder and it is also slanted from the waist at one side. This tutorial is detailed and very easy to follow. So if you love seeing tutorials like this, why not keep watching and let's get into the video. My fabric for this tutorial is crepe, but you can make use of any plain fabric of choice. It is lightweight and the amount is 4 yards. To start, I will be cutting the top first. So what I will do is to fold a part of my fabric into 2 equal parts, and I will further fold it into 2 because I'll be cutting the back and the front piece together. But this time the fold is not equal because I left out about 1.5 inches as zipper allowance. So the wider fabric is the back piece. At the top of my fabric, I'll take out half of an inch and draw a straight line, which will serve as the shoulder line. And from there, I'll take my vertical measurements. The first is my shoulder to my waistline, 16 inches, my shoulder to my hip line, 25, and my shoulder to how long I want this top to be. Now this top is longer than the normal top length, so I will use 40 as my top length, and the remaining 1 inch there will serve as the hem allowance. Go ahead and determine how long you want your top to be. The next thing to do is to measure the neckline. From the center fold of the front piece, I'll measure my neck width, which is 3 inches, and the neck depth is 2.5 inches. For the back neckline, it is the same with the front neckline. From the center fold again, I will mark half of my shoulder measurement. Half of my shoulder is 7.5, then I will add extra half inch sewing allowance, making 8 inches. And from that point, I will come down by 1 inch to slope the shoulder. Then connect the point back to the neck width. From that shoulder slope, the next thing to do is to measure your armhole depth. Then you connect the point back to the shoulder slope and also draw an horizontal line, which is the chest line, and you can decide to extend the line to the center fold. Now let's create the armhole curve. To do that, you will first measure the quarter of your bust circumference on the chest line and also get the midpoint of the armhole line. And from that midpoint, you go in by half of an inch. Then you connect the points together to get the armhole curve. This will serve as the front armhole. For the back armhole, I don't want to go in by half of an inch. I will just connect these two together. But you can choose to cut your back armhole same way you'll be cutting the front. The next thing to do is to take the round measurement. I already marked quarter of my bust circumference, so I will move to the waistline and mark quarter of my waist circumference. On the hip line, I will also mark quarter of my hip circumference. At the hem, I will use the same measurements I marked on the hip line, then connect the points together. To this round measurement, I will add extra allowance, 1 inch as ease and another 1 inch as sewing allowance, making 2 inches in total. Your ease allowance depends on how free you want the top on you, so you can add more than 1 inch as your ease allowance, okay? At the hem, I marked 2.5 inches instead of 2 inches. This is all for the drafting. To the shoulder, I will add half inch joining allowance, then go ahead to cut on the lines. I'll be cutting the back armhole first before cutting the front armhole. At the waist side of the zipper allowance on the back piece, I will go in by 3/4 of an inch, and this is to take out the zipper bulge. Then I will connect the points this way and continue cutting. At the armhole side, I will separate the front and the back piece so as to cut the front armhole. The next thing to do now is to cut off one side of the shoulder and also one side from the waist. Whichever side you cut off from the shoulder is the same side you'll be using for the waist. So go ahead and determine which side you are cutting off. For me, I'll be using the right side. So from the shoulder line, not from the joining allowance, I will come down by 3.5 inches. You can go above or below that 3.5, depends on how off you want your top. Then you connect your points to the center of the neck width and also cut on the line. To shape the side, I will first take out the 1 inch sewing allowance, and from that point I will mark 8 inches. That is what I want to cut off. Then connect the point this way to about ½ inch below the waistline, and you can as well connect it directly to the waistline. It's fine. You can see the line is not straight. That is how I want it. But if you want yours differently, go ahead and shape it the exact way you want it. Now this is what the front piece looks like. The next thing to do is to duplicate it on the back piece. Here is the back piece, and I'll place the front piece on it right side facing. I pinned the two together so it won't move. Then I will cut the back piece same way I did the front. Now that we are done cutting, the next thing to do is start stitching, but we need to cut out facing to turn the neckline. Here is the piece for the front facing. I placed the front piece on its right side facing, then I will trace out the neckline and also cut out the length I want it to have. Before using this to turn the neckline, I will iron interfacing to the wrong side, then place it on the right side of the main piece. Use ½ inch to turn the neckline and also turn in the edge once. Stitch it round to give it a neat finishing. I went ahead to cut out the back facing, and before stitching, I will also iron interfacing to the wrong side. And this is what the back looks like after using facing to turn each of the neckline. I didn't stitch the zipper side, and this is because I want to use the facing to cover the zipper at that part. So after fixing my zipper, I will stitch it completely. This is the front piece. After turning the neckline, I also use hemming gum to hold down the facing, and this is what it looks like at the right side. The next thing to do is to attach the zipper. So from my neck depth, I will mark where my zipper will stop. Then from that point, I will close the zipper allowance all the way to the hem. And for my zipper, this is how I will fix it. The waist side is not going to be straight. This is the back piece now. I later reduced the length of the zipper, and this is what the wrong side looks like. I already finished up one side of the facing, as you can see, and this is how to go about it. Flip your facing to the back, then you stitch your facing to the zipper this way and also this way. So this is how you will stitch it. Then you turn it to the right side, and you will have something like this. I will go over to the sewing machine now to stitch, and after stitching, I will trim off the excess fabric. And this is what I have now. After stitching, I trim off the excess fabric as I said. If you don't trim it off, that part will be bulky and it won't relax well. I also use hemming gum to hold down the facing at this side, and I will do the same here after joining the shoulder. The next thing to do now is to join the shoulder. So I'll place the front piece on the back piece right side facing. Then I will turn the back facing this way and wrap it around the remaining fabric there. Then I will go over to stitch with the 1/2 inch joining allowance I left for it. After joining the shoulder, this is what I have. I can now use hemming gum to hold down this facing. The next thing to do now is to close the side. I will close the side using the 1 inch sewing allowance I left for it while cutting. I will use the 1 inch to close this side as well. After closing the upper side, I will also double fold the remaining parts of the side and use hemming gum to hold it down. You can as well stitch it. This is one of the side after stitching, and this is the other side. The next thing to do now is to cut out the sleeves. So I'll measure what I have around my armhole. This is 9 inches. I already folded my fabric into 4 to cut out the 2 sleeves and also draw the starting line. And the next thing to do is to measure the elbow line, which is 13 inches. Next, I will measure my sleeve length. I want the sleeve really long, so I will use 27 inches plus extra 1 inch hem allowance, making 28 inches. Next, I will come down from the starting line by 4.5 inches, which will be the bicep line. Then on that line, I will mark my armhole measurement, 9 inches. And I will connect the point with a slant line towards the center fold. Now on that slant line, I will get the midpoint. Then I will go a little below the slant line and a little above it with a curve. On this curved line, I will retake my armhole measurement. Then add 1 inch sewing allowance. On the elbow line, I will mark my round elbow divided by 2 plus extra 1 inch sewing allowance. At the hem, I will use my round wrist divided by 2 and also add the 1 inch sewing allowance. Then connect the points. This is all for the drafting. I will cut it out now. I will separate these two and adjust one into an off-shoulder sleeve. But before then, I will measure what I have around the second armhole. I have 5 inches here. So on my sleeve, I will take out the sewing allowance and mark that 5 inches. At that point, I will also measure the 3.5 inches I cut out from the shoulder plus extra 1/2 inch sewing allowance, making 4 inches. So that is where the sleeve starts from now. Next thing to do is to stitch the top part. So give it a double fold and run a stitch on it. For me, I will use hemming gum to hold it down. For the hem, I will also give it a double fold and stitch it down. Afterwards, I will close the side and also do the same thing with the second sleeve. After stitching, this is what my sleeves look like. The next thing to do is to attach it to the armhole. Then go over to the sewing machine to stitch using 1/2 inch allowance. After attaching the sleeves, I also went ahead to fold in the hem allowance using hemming gum. And here we've come to the end of this tutorial. Thank you so much for watching. This is what we just made. So if you find this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and share to others that might find it helpful as well. In my next video, I'll be showing us the process of making this pants trouser, and I'm sure you don't want to miss it. So if you haven't subscribed to my channel, why not subscribe so that when I make the post, you'll be notified. So guys, I'll see you in my next one.